Guys, welcome to the first, I guess you'd call it, Nothing Better to Do game review with your good friend D.Marx. A while back, Tom C. and I were asked to review a game currently in progress called Bloodlust, Shadowhunter. Vampire Shadowhunter, sorry. So finally we got around to playing it. It was brought to our attention by WRFstudios, I believe. Really could double check that. Yeah. Part 1. The basics. Alright, in terms of your basic character creation and whatnot, it's all pretty much standard. In the demo, you got two playable races, the vampires and the Dompiers. I'd use the Dompier, which are the half-humans. They got some resistance bonuses or whatever. You got your three basic classes, warrior, rogue, and mage. They got some slight name differences in this game, but you got it. You're smart guys. You'll figure it out. Your class also depends on your starting clan. 3 clans give you 3 bonuses, whatever, depending on what they are. Choose between male and female. You have to choose your own name and stuff. Standard, I guess, D&D style abilities, strength, wisdom, dexterity, blah, 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 etc., etc. And you can create your own name. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Very simple, not too in-depth, but, it's nothing terribly complicated, and it doesn't really need to be for, I think, a game like this. Part 2, baby, the game itself. Alrighty, so what's actually in this game? Why should you play it? Obviously, people are trying to make this. They want to get people out there. Why should you play it? What is the game? Well, as you can see in this little opening cinematic deal, you start off as a vampire in some crypt, or half vampire, or whatever, part of some clan. That's you in that coffin there. Got some crows. But basically what ends up happening is, at least from the parts that I played, you're a vampire, you don't know how you got there, some amnesia crap, and you are tasked about doing favors, and people will help you figure out exactly what's going on, who you are, and the life as a vampire just in general. You just do some quests and whatnot. Pretty standard, single-player RPG things and whatnot, and that's pretty much as far what the story entails. As far as actual gameplay goes, at least in the beginning, spend time people interrogating, asking people questions and whatnot in order to figure out what exactly is going on, how people can help you, your past, etc., all that stuff. This is pretty important because they tell you pretty crucial things about the area and the starting ruins area you begin in and whatnot. It's full of monsters. It's going to be fought in one of 2 ways. You got your standard swords, melee and stuff. There are guns later on. You start out with a knife. Or there's the other option of magic, which is, at least in my experience, slightly less potent than just regular attacking. But I'm sure it's for somebody. Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to let you know what I think. Alright, so talked a little bit about the game itself, a little bit about the story, at least from what I got of it. Now I'm going to let you know the actual, my personal opinion. This game has a lot going for it. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Number one, I've never tried making a game myself before. I'm sure it's very difficult. For what I assume to be a fairly low budget game, I think the graphics are very good. I think there's a lot of work put into it as far as like the writing and stuff goes. Everything seems to work pretty well together. I'd say as far as things like controls and whatnot, there aren't really too many problems, I think, except for one major flaw, which is, of course, the fact that in order to scroll around, like to look with the camera, you have to hold down the right mouse button. What is this, 1997? That was extremely aggravating. Also, the fact that you only really use A, D to strafe side to side, and W to move forward, but you can't use the S key to move backwards, which in combat, especially if you were a magic user like I am, I feel is very super, super important. But outside from that, the game itself seems to flow pretty well. Some of the monsters can be maybe a little too challenging in the beginning. I did die quite a lot as a magic user. A lot because, obviously I'm kind of an idiot, don't know the controls real well, it's first time playing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not sure if I can blame that on the game itself or just my relative inexperience to it. But, as far as the controls and everything go, I think it's, admirable, solid. I don't think you can find too many complaints aside from the ones that I pointed out. Alright, so I guess really the biggest thing about this game that really is kind of keeping me from throwing my full support behind it is that the game doesn't feel right to me. I realize that when you're first starting out, you're just a low-level, level 1 vampire or whatever, but I just never felt strong, and I realize that that's not always supposed to be the case, but I never felt like I really had any kind of power. I really felt like I never felt that I was really outside of any mortal ability, outside of my ability to do some with the occasional super jump, and, cast mostly ineffective magic spells, which caused my doom more than one occasion. I mean, the environments and stuff seem to be kind of trying to get across this whole, super dark goth vibe, more, meshing of Bram Stoker's original vampire mythos with a modern-day twist, like a lot of games do, especially the vampire game from New World of Darkness. But I think there's just something missing about the game tone I think is really kind of distracting, at least when I was playing it. And I think some of the control problems that I mentioned earlier didn't exactly help. I never didn't feel like I was playing a game, which is probably my biggest criticism, and I'm not entirely sure what they can really do about that. Everything else that I've said can probably be relatively easily fixed, but getting a game's tone is very difficult, and outside of trying to basically redo the whole game, I'm not sure what they could do about it. I'm not just trying to be negative about the whole thing. Obviously, there's a lot of work that went into this game, and I do encourage you guys to at least try it and see for yourselves. Maybe you'll email and say, D.Marx was such a jerk. Can't believe the story was super impactful and whatnot. That's fine. I would love to hear comments about that. This is just my personal opinions. They asked us for just a quick review, so that's what I'm doing. So anyway, that should be pretty much it. I don't know if I'm ever going to do any of these ever again, but if I do, you'll be the first to know. Like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc., and I will see you guys later.